Hi and welcome to Tabletop Gaming. My name is Charlie and today we've gone wholly off what we normally do. Normally I sit here and I'm like, guys, I'm going to give you 10 of the best blah blah blah. And we're like, that's great, this is how this works. No, okay. So with lockdown sort of slowly lifting in the UK, we got very excited about the idea of being able to play party games again with lots and lots of different people. And so we brought out the party issue. Woo! That's the correct reaction, by the way, guys. I hope you're wooing at home. Anyway, with that, we decided to run through 50 of the best party games. And that means we have a massive list of great, amazing, fun party games that we recommend, that we love. Now, obviously, this video would be incredibly long if I decided to do all 50 in one. So what we're going to do is we're going to break it into 3 parts. This is the first part. We're going to go down from 50 to 31 maybe, and have a look at what's in our top list. Now, the list itself has a range of contributors. I will make sure they are in the box below so you can see who it is that's been writing about these for us, and has been decided the order by our editor, Chris. Now, we have been joking that if you guys want to complain about it, you are welcome to complain to Chris. Because I certainly, there's some of them that I'm like, yeah, but I think that one's better than this one, and this one's better than that one. So I would love to hear your thoughts. Pop them in the comments below. I will pass them on to Chris and claim that he is responsible for this, and we'll have a good laugh about it. So let me know your favourite party games. But without further ado, I think we need to dive right in, and let's have a look at number 50. Number 50 is Exploding Kittens by Exploding Kittens. This one you're probably going to be aware of, let's be honest. It is everywhere. If you walk into Waterstones, it's there. If you walk into your supermarket, depending on how big it is, it might be there. This is a game that lots of people have and lots of people enjoy. So, tick box in terms of, have people heard of it? Are people aware of it? Are people willing to play it? Tick. Great start. Now, this is basically a card game. It is a quick and easy one where you just don't want to explode. There are bombs within the deck that you'll cycle through. There's diffuse cards to take those out, but alongside those you'll have things like being able to see other people's cards and take other people's cards, or see ahead in the deck, or things like that, that are going to allow you to try and plot your way through without receiving a bomb that will blow you up. It's lovely and quick, it's lovely and easy, it's got some adorable artwork from the oatmeal that really makes it. It's quite quirky, it's quite fun, it's quite bright, so it's easy to get people involved in it. It's easy to say, do you want to play this? And for them to go, sure. Now, player count is obviously slightly limited, you can add to those with expansions and things like that, but it is good fun to play, and there is nothing more satisfying than having a nope card when someone really smugly is like, haha, I'm going to play this card, and you can pick up, nope. Glorious moment. Next up is Beat That. This comes in at number 49. Now, this was originally seen by a contributor at UK Games Expo. It sort of harks over to that longing that us Brits have when we watch American TV programs when they have college and they have beer pong, and we're like, we just don't really do that. That's not really a thing here, but it's a thing there, and you're like, that's quite cool. But this gives you challenges and tasks that you're going to need to complete, including bouncing the ping pong ball into the red cups, which it comes with. Of course, there's more important challenges than just chucking a ball into a cup, but those are for you to find out when you play. It's one that's suitable for pretty much all ages, so hopefully you can find someone to enjoy it with. In at number 48 is Trust Me, I'm a Doctor. Now, this is an interesting one. It follows that format of people sort of voting at the end on what the funniest outcome is. You're going to be treating patients using real historical cures, which are, as you can imagine, utterly insane. Like, you look at them and you think, why would people think that works? But it makes for good fun when you're putting it into a game to heal someone and hopefully have the best result. The example given in the review is that there is a cure for impotence because impotence was caused by mischievous elves, and then you need a special berry to fend off the elves, which fends off the impotence. It's an interesting one. It's one you sort of got to see to understand. There's a tiny part of it that calls into that sort of Cards of Humanity vein, so just be aware of that. But can be good fun if you're all in the same sort of mindset and enjoy those sorts of games. Number 47 is Werewords. This is one of my favourite style of games where you have someone that is someone and you don't know who it is. I promise that makes sense. Basically, it's 20 questions, but one person is trying to trick you into thinking something else. So, two people get shown the word. One person is going to answer questions regarding it so that you can get closer and closer to it, and the other person is going to try and make sure that what the group guesses is not what is the original word. So it's a very clever way of doing it. You've got to be quite sneaky with it, you've got to make sure that you're not suspicious at all, making it really good fun and quite easy to pick up because who isn't familiar with 20 questions? Of course, there's additional layers to it as well, so you could play as the seer, for example, who can see what the word is and then try and gauge everybody around it to get the right word, but the werewolf gets to pick who it is at the end that is the seer, so if they guess correctly, they might win, so you need to be not too obvious. There's lots of layers to it. It's a really fun one to sort of build up and have fun with. In at number 46 is a game that falls into the genre of being more dexterity. You're going to have little tasks and things that you're going to need to complete. This is Tokyo Game Show. Inside the box are 63 games, so it's going to keep you busy for a while. And the box itself contains glow-in-the-dark wristbands, which I've not seen in a game before, and I feel like should be in every game that you can squeeze them into. Who doesn't love a glow-in-the-dark wristband? It's basically a box of party games, and the host or game master is going to be the one that's picking which game you play next out. Now the host or the game master is going to pick which games it is that you play before you start, but there are plenty in there to keep you busy. In at number 45 is Double Feature. This is a game that is great because, yes, it's about films, but no, it's not about what you've seen. So fine. I've not seen Lord of the Rings trilogy. However, I have seen Harry Potter, and can I link the two categories using those instead? So basically, you'll have those two categories that say that might be this is a one-word title and that might be a comedy, and you have to try and think of a film that links those that your director will go, yes, that's the one. Now in doing so, you'll have to think of not only ones that you know link the two, but also ones that your director may like as well, so that they may choose you over others. All very simple, and of course crosses that boundary of what you've seen or what you haven't seen, or whether your tastes are the same, or whether you're younger or older, or you were obsessed with a certain film series or anything like that. You can either channel those in, but it overcomes any boundaries that you have in relation to those when you do sort of like trivia games sometimes. And number 44 is Secret Hitler. This is one where you open your eyes and you immediately cast suspicion on everybody around the table. Two players are going to be assigned roles, so one of those is going to be Hitler and one of those is going to be a fascist. And your job, if you are not one of those, is to detect who it is. Now, you're going to do so mostly by trying to pass policies. So as a liberal, which is what I would be in this circumstance, I will be trying to lay down cards that pass policies for liberal policies. It's simple enough, the policies aren't there, it's just liberal and fascist, but I will lay those down in front of me. The problem is the cards are weighted in favour of the fascists, so it might be that my 2-card hand just consists of fascist cards, so I then lay down a fascist card. Suspicion is then on me. Am I the fascist? And I go, no, it's fine, look, I had 2 fascist cards, I can't show you, but I promise that I did. How do you then guarantee that that's true? What if I had the choice and I chose to pass a policy that was a fascist policy? You don't know. This sort of cycle of distrust is a really fun, sort of clever social deduction game where you're trying to work out who amongst your friends are the bad guys and then accuse them as such. What's also brilliant about this game is you can tell people's poker faces very quickly. So if you can work out someone's tell, you've got them. And there is nothing more satisfying than opening your eyes, looking around your group and immediately going, it's them too. That's like my favourite thing. Agreeably, people are put off by the name and the theme. That's completely understandable. A retheme would do it wonders, but the core mechanics are incredible, and it's a really fun game if you can get it to your table. In at number 43 is Tumbling Dice. This is a mixture of other games, I feel, that you'll be familiar with, so the rules are relatively simple. You have your own 6-sided dice, you are going to roll them down the board, and you're going to try and get them in particular point-scoring areas. Now, once you're in there, those point-scoring areas times by the amount that you got on the dice, obviously 6 being better, 1 being worse. Can't control that bit, but you can try and control where it lands. However, your scoring isn't until the end, so other players then have the chance to knock you off your spot, to change your result, or just to move you from where you are by quite aggressive dice throwing. It makes it quite a fun and quick game, and a very easy game to explain too. There's not too much to it that makes it too complicated, but there's plenty of competition to enjoy within it, because if you don't get competitive over rolling dice, honestly, who are you? Then we have Timeline. Now this one is strictly putting things in historical order. That sounds lovely and easy. It almost sounds boring, but no, because it's not as easy as you think to work out which came first between this event and this event. Some of them are straightforward. Yeah, sure, the Egyptians came before World War II. I can do that one. However, when we get more into it, some of those aren't quite so simple. Where once you begin with centuries difference, you now begin with years difference, and as that timeline gets more complicated, it gets more tricky, and it gets more argumentative over which date is correct before the final reveal. And of course this one comes in multitude of different flavours, so you might even get a music version, for example, music and shows. That's exciting. Plenty of choice for you and a different way to bring things to your table that pretty much everyone can join in on. At number 41 is Yogi. It was previously known, I believe, as In a Bind, but it is a game of basically doing as you're told. You draw a card and you have an action that you're going to need to complete, but you're going to need to continue to complete that until the end of the game. If you stop doing so, you lose. That sounds great when you've got one thing that you need to do, but as you play more cards, as you go through more rounds, it gets trickier and trickier and trickier, and all of a sudden you're doing 10 crazy things at once and hoping that no one notices that you missed one off. It might be as simple as balancing a card on the back of your hand. It might be as simple as keeping your right pinky finger pointed down, or making sure that your ear touches your shoulder. Those all sound fine, apart from the fact that you're going to need to pick up a card whilst doing all of those 3 simultaneously. This is not an easy game. It takes that fun sort of like a Twister, where you have to do as you're told in all these crazy circumstances, and morphs it into a great tabletop game to pick up and to sort of break the ice as well, because the more silly things you do, the more you're going to laugh, and half party games is about laughing together. In at number 40 is Slap 45. Disappointingly not at number 45, that would have been satisfying. Anyway, the game itself is described by Chad Wilkinson, who wrote this part for us, as a little known Kickstarter game that, you know what, if you like the sound of it, go find it, it could be great. It's basically like a Western standoff where you're going to be turning over cards, slapping your hand down on them, and then looking to point and shoot somebody. Play is often simultaneous, so you can imagine how bonkers it gets when everybody's trying to scrabble to do different things. And of course, different cards do different things, so it's not going to be quite as simple as just wanting to shoot the other person. You're going to have to think about what you're seeing, what you're doing, and what happens next. Just be prepared for that final showdown. It's you or them. In at number 39 is Happy Salmon. This is as happy as the game suggests. It comes in a delightful salmon, like a little zip bag that's actually a salmon. It's really cute. And it's a card game which is going to give you instructions on what sounds like basically building the best handshake you possibly can. So you will lay in your palm cards that will include instructions like high five or fist bump or something along those lines, and when someone else matches, you'll do the action together. So you're trying to do so as quickly as possible, and lots of people shouting, lots of people doing lots of actions, keeping it sort of high octane and good fun. Even an icebreaker you could totally use this as a fun little party game to enjoy. It's worth noting there are different variations that you can include as well, so some that are no speaking, so you'll use sort of sign language instead, which is really nice, and a couple of other ways to adapt it that's good fun. But this is a great little party game, and good fun one and cheap one to pick up too. At number 38 is Subtext, which is one actually I'd not heard of before reading this list. Probably should have, don't know how I missed it, but still. Basically, you're going to have one player draw a card and they're going to draw a clue as to what that card is. Then it gets shuffled back into the deck. Other players are going to draw cards, draw their hint, and hope that they have the matching card. Players then bet on which of those hints is going to be the card that the original person had, and you really hope that you're right. Being right gets you points, being wrong, well, try again next time. In at number 37 is A Fake Artist Goes to New York. Now, thankfully, you don't need particularly any drawing skills to actually make this work, because otherwise I would be out immediately. You'll have your group of people. Each people will be given a card with a word on, apart from one. One person won't know. What you'll then do is take it in turns to draw that out, with the fake artist having no idea what it actually is and trying to either work it out from the drawings or lie convincingly enough at the points to say why that's as it is. So their additional line is drawn sort of, to be honest, to begin with, you're like, I just hope no one thinks this is weird. And then you go from there and that's all you can do. It's not the easiest thing to draw in tandem with other people anyway, let alone when you've got no idea what it is. They're going to then try and guess who it is, so the group is then going to try and work out who the fake artist is, and hopefully you just don't get caught. It's one of those where hilarity ensues. I find this one particularly popular with the younger members of my family, just because, I don't even know why, but they particularly enjoy it, but it works with pretty much all ages. Plus, let's be honest, it's great fun when you've accused someone of being the fake artist because their lines are totally wrong, only to find that they weren't the fake artist at all and they're just a bit rubbish. It's just funny, it's just fun. At number 36 is Concept, where you're going to be trying to communicate a clue that you receive using cubes that you put on a board to give hints. Alright, let me give you an example. You have apple. You put a cube on the food symbol, you put a cube on the circle, and a cube on the red. Great, hopefully the person is then going to work out that if I put all of those together, the most likely answer is probably going to be an apple. However, when the concepts get more vague, I think therefore I am, how on earth are you going to use those? You're going to be using those cubes to communicate sort of like importance, so how many cubes go where, what differentiates from what, but ultimately that's not a straightforward answer, and that means that some of those responses you're going to get are going to be vastly different to what you're trying to communicate. However, it does mean that pretty much anyone can play because you're restricted in what you're able to say. So all you need to be able to do is to put down cubes. And if you can do that, you can play this game. Our contributor said that it's perhaps more of a family game than a party game, but there's an overlap in between because once you're playing with a large group of people, it's a great icebreaker and a great way to get people talking afterwards. Oh, but I meant this. Oh, but how would I have seen that? Why would this have happened? The sort of good arguments that are brought on by games that, yes, they're arguments, but yes, they're fun and they're delightful and they're a great way to get to know people too. Number 35 is Super Fight. This is, if you've ever had a family member, generally a young family member, turn to you and be like, who would win in a battle between blah, blah, blah and blah, blah, blah? And you're like, I don't know. They're like, right, let's debate this. And you sit down and you have a discussion with the child about whether this would do this, or like what difference would this make to this? Who would win in a fight between Batman and Iron Man? Well, Iron Man has his suit, yeah, but Batman has his suit, but Iron Man has his upgrades, but Batman has his upgrades. You see what I mean? You're just trying to convince one or the other. So what you're going to be doing in Super Fight is taking that to the next level, because you're going to have something bonkers on one side, fighting something equally as bonkers on the other side with a different player. So, let's say I have a pet rock. That's my first card. And I've got a power for that. I've got a pet rock who can travel through objects. Are they going to beat the dragon that can summon cats at will? Who knows? Let's argue and find out. However, partway through, another power is thrown into mix. So now my pet rock has a mustache that can extend at will, whereas the dragon is now drunk. We're going to have to argue as to which of those is better, in a fight. Is the drunkenness going to give them some sort of extra power? Are they going to care less? Why would they win over my pet rock with the expendable moustache? Let's find out in an argument. This is great for ones that have sort of inventive brains that just can get into an argument and enjoy it. This is going to win because this is way better. Why wouldn't you think this is better? And those sorts of fights and arguments are great sort of talkers and great fun as well, because the ludicrous things you'll be saying are always amusing to the watchers, and those watchers of course can keep an eye on who they think is going to win. Basically it's a game of arguing nonsense, but if you're up for that, that's great fun. Number 34 is Magic Maze. Now this is unlike other party games in the sense that, as you can see from the last couple, there's going to be noise involved. Magic Maze is played pretty much silently. In this game, up to 8 players are going to be trying to help 4 heroes complete a raid on a modern day shopping mall. Everyone moves simultaneously within it to try and get to their destination, at which point another tile is revealed for their exit. Everyone's going to try and move to the exit, but each tile moved further is revealed only 1 tile at a time. Everyone moves simultaneously, but no one is allowed to speak, and you've got to be wary, of course, of that 3-minute hourglass that sits there that you're going to turn over. Now you can extend that, but there are consequences. There's other things you need to consider and that will occur by doing so. Is it worth it? Have to find out, but you can't discuss with others, so you need to make the right decision. And our contributor said more often than not, when you get to the end, you then sort of have a hilarious debrief of why you did that, or why did this happen, or what happened, before wanting to dive right back in. Number 33 is Don't Get Got. I love this game because it isn't a game in the same sense that you would sit down and say, this is a game for 3 to 5 players and it takes 60 minutes to play. This you can play, you could basically play this game forever if you wanted to. What happens is you are given secret tasks and you're going to try and trick other people into completing those tasks. So it might be something as simple as drum your fingers on the table in a tune and try and get someone else to replicate or join in with you. If you can get them to do that, they got. That means you then turn over your card, and that means you have scored, in essence, 1 point, and it's first to 3. The reason why this works as a really great game is because you can start it in, say, the morning of a gaming day or the start of a gaming evening, and almost forget about it. Because you've got to remember, you've got to try not to get got as well. So if your friends are doing strange things and you think that they're trying to do it as part of a task, you can call them out on that. However, if you completely forget that you're playing, or they manage to just innocently trick you into doing something, you got. You don't want to get got. But it makes it a really fun, quite sneaky thing, because you can forget about it for a little while and come back to it, and you can then show off how well you've done. There is also a shut up and sit down version that was kickstarted recently, or various, I think there's a Christmas version as well, so perfect for different days of gaming. And also, there's nothing more satisfying than shouting you got at someone. So as a party game, it's one that gets everyone talking and everyone trying to do something together, which is great fun. In at number 32 is fun employed. Now, this is referred to as sort of being like, if you imagine a job interview, but fun. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have a position that you're applying for, perhaps a supervillain, and then you're going to have conditions that you have that you're going to try and convince the person that your skills are in line. Problem is, those skills might be like pyromaniac, and the job you might be applying for might be motivational speaker, and you're going to have to try and work out how it is that those pyromaniac skills work perfectly as a motivational speaker. Of course, talking nonsense is always fun, but listening to other people's nonsense is equally as fun. So it's a really chill little game. So it takes the pressure out of the job interview, but adds in the fun of being able to talk about random things and argue why they are absolutely justified. Now, our contributor noted there are some PG cards in there. You can take those out to play with the family if you'd prefer. In at number 31 is Pictomania. Now, this is from the same designer that did Codenames, so you know that you're in good hands. And like the name suggests, it is related in some sense to Pictionary, only in the idea that you're going to be drawing something and having other people guess it. This one differs though, because it's played simultaneously. So everybody is drawing at the same time, and you're going to be trying to work out what other people have drawn nice and quickly. You can only start guessing though once you've finished yours. So, is it great to be speedy and start guessing others nice and quickly for those points? But then maybe no one guesses yours. That's not good either. Or do you try and do a detailed drawing and miss out on those opportunities to snaffle quick points and easy points from the easier drawings that your fellow players have made? It's all something you're going to need to consider. But because it requires absolutely no drawing skills, because often the worse they are, the funnier it is, it's a game that can really be played by a wide range of people. And it's just good fun, so one to enjoy. And the final one on this list, because we'll go down to 30 before starting part 2, is Captain Sonar. Captain Sonar falls under the team game category. You're going to be split into 2 teams, and you're going to each have roles, specific things that you need to be. You might be the first mate, you might be the captain, you might have other roles, but you're going to be trying to defeat the other team. While you're doing that though, one of the players is going to be a radio operator who's listening to the other team to try and work out what it is that they're doing, so you can plot where they're going so that you are then successful. All the while you're still having to declare what it is that you're doing so that they can hear what you're saying, and then they can try and do exactly the same. It makes it a really good sort of like team building exercise with you all working together, but hilarious in trying to work out where they are, what's going on, and how you're going to best defeat them too. It's basically a game of like rushed decisions, but in the best possible way, where you're just really hoping that you've done it right. So that's it for our first video. Thank you so much for watching. This is part 1. There will be 3 parts in total, counting down our 50 best party games. Now, please do let me know in the comments which of these are your favourites, which ones you would add. If you have any predictions or any ones that you would certainly include as the top 10, let me know. I'd love to hear them. I'm a huge fan of party games. I think they're a brilliant genre, so I'd be really excited to talk about them, so please do leave a comment. Whilst you're there, also like and subscribe to this video, keep your eyes out for the next ones that are coming up, and thank you so much for watching. If you would like more from us, head to tabletopgaming.co.uk. You can also pick up the magazine there that this was originally based on, so you can see other features including things like an interview with the designer at Big Potato. We've got discussions on how to win these sorts of games, as well as reviews and features just as normal, so make sure you check those out. Hope you've enjoyed this video, see you in the next one, and have a great day.